Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about measuring pistons and the importance of measuring the pistons. Not only would you possibly lose performance by not having the proper piston to wall clearance when you're building an engine, it can also cause you a lot of catastrophic damage. Everybody takes for granted what size these are supposed to be. They look at the box, they say, well, that's a 4-inch bore, so it's good to go. Bore, hone the engine to 4-inch, good to go. 4030, it's good to go. But in the real world, that's not how it works. Unfortunately, there's tolerances, and we have to measure because a thousandths here, a thousandths there can lead to major problems. If you're a thousandths tight on a piston that runs with a tight piston to wall clearance anyways, if it's only calling for 2 thousandths or 1.5 thousandths clearance, and it's a thousandths tight, you have a half thousandths clearance, and it's going to cause a lot of problems. But I have a perfect example here, and this is not the first time I've ran into this, but I'd like to talk to you about it and show you how to measure a piston correctly and what to do to make it right. So y'all stay tuned, and we'll be right back with you. Hey, I'm back. Alrighty, this is the second time I've seen this in the last few weeks. I'd like to just kind of talk to you about it, and that's piston to wall clearance. These are brand new pistons, and they're 10 over pistons. They're 4010, what they're supposed to be. And then here's another piston. It's not 4010. This is actually I think 3.937 bore is what it's supposed to be running. I think that's what it is right off the top of my head. I don't remember exactly, but I just wanted to show you the differences in pistons too, but we'll get to that here in a minute, and what makes these two pistons different and why, and for different applications. They're both name brand pistons. There's a Molly piston and then a CP Carrillo bullet piston. They have different uses, and they're built two different designs, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But first I want to talk to you about the sizing. Now these are supposed to be 10 over pistons for a 4-inch bore. So it'd be 4-inch 10-0 is what, or 4-inch 0.010 would be the bore size. However, these pistons need about 2.5 thousandths clearance. So we go ahead and measure these before we hone the cylinders. And when we measure this, I've already preset this, but when we measure it, it doesn't come out to the proper size of what it needs to be. And what you need to do is, most pistons, you have to look on the box or on the spec sheet, but most pistons have their measuring point a 1/2 inch down the skirt. When the piston's upside down, so a 1/2 inch from the flat down is usually where you measure, because they are not round. Like, you think it's round, but it's not. The skirt is a barrel. So it's kind of like this, but also it's this. So not only does it taper like this way, right here, it's got a peak here, but it also has a peak here. So you only have a small contact in the center, or wherever the manufacturer thinks it needs to be at. It's not the whole skirt. So you use that 500 thousandths down, or a 1/2 inch measurement. Which, like I said, I've already measured this piston, but you go to that point, and it's important. I'm gonna have to stand up to do this. I can't hardly see what I'm doing. It's important to use your thimble here on your mic. Get it at the setting point. Don't use the major part, but use the spring tension thimble here, and allow it to click. Because if you use this, you're going to tighten it, and then you're not going to have any repeatability. You really need to learn how to use a mic properly. Most people do not use them properly. They're not vice grips. They're not clamps. You stick it right there and you twist this, and that's all the tension is supposed to be. You lock it, and I like to just kind of feel it afterwards. See if there's any play, in case you've caught it a little in the wrong spot or something. That feels pretty good. But anyways, this is measuring out. If I was to bore the cylinder at 4-inch, 10 over, it would only give enough clearance, or rather, the clearance would be 8/10. Oh no, 6/10, sorry. Read it wrong. I don't have my glasses on me. Right now, this piston measures out 4-inch, 9 thousandths, and 4/10. So you have 6/10 clearance on a 10 over bore. That's no bueno. That would seize up immediately. I think I mentioned this on another video, how I ran across this, and this is another set of pistons that I ran across this with the same exact issue. And this is why it's so important to measure it. Because if I had not had these pistons on hand and I'd have honed the cylinders out to 10 over, and the customer would have installed these pistons, it would have seized up. It would have ruined the skirts, it would have ruined the cylinder wall in just a little while, because there's not enough oil clearance. But that is why it's so important to measure these, because it's not what the box actually says it is. And both of them are measuring very similar, pretty consistent. But I don't know why, but this is the second set of pistons of this brand that's been like that here lately. Same pistons. They've had a run, but they've made them too big. That's all there is to it. This is a Molle piston, and I'm not knocking Molle at all. Molle is a good piston. I use a lot of Molle pistons and engines that I build. I love them. They're a good price, they're modern technology, and they work real good. But they have their place. The Power Pack piston line that they make are really good shelf pistons. But I wanted to talk to you about that. And next I want to talk to you about piston design. Molle here, the purpose of this piston is for a lightweight street performance piston that's strong but yet light as possible, and that's what they've done here. You can see how it's cut in right here. I'm actually going to zoom in so you can see this a little bit better. All right, maybe you can see this a little bit better. But the Molle piston here, see how there's no material in here to keep it really light, and it's got this tight pin boss right here, and this design here. This is what they call a slipper skirt design. This is a very good, strong piston. It's very lightweight, but it's made for NA street use and some, some mild performance race use. But it's not, I wouldn't really call it a race piston, but it is a good piston. Now here, this is a CP piston, and I'm not saying that all Molle pistons are like this. This is this style. You can have, Molle will make you whatever you want, and they have some race pistons, a lot of them, but this one is not that line, although they are good. This one is a CP Carrillo bullet piston. As you can see, the designs are drastically different. Now, obviously, this is not for the same cylinder. It's not even for the same stroke. It's got different pin height. It's a different bore size, but that's irrelevant for this conversation. We're talking about piston design. So you see how this one has a narrow, and this one doesn't. This one's straight. But look how much more meat is on this piston. Look at the pin boss here. Look how narrow, real thin, streamlined. They've made it as light as possible. And look how thick and heavy duty this is. Also, this has got that hollow spot right here where they've kept it light. This is solid. They've got a little bit there, but mainly it's solid, and they've got struts here that's going out. There's not even any struts on this one at all. So this is a lot stronger. The skirt itself, the thickness is thicker. The webbing is way thicker. And then another thing is, look at the, well, get out where you can't see it here. Look at the height of the top of the piston. This is very narrow. It's very light piston. It's an NA piston. This is not made for any type of boost or anything. Then you get to this piston. Look how much thicker the top is here. It's a lot stronger piston. You can see that it's just built a lot better. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. This particular piston is not thicker there. Well, it is a little bit, but not very much. But a lot of times they are a lot thicker there on these pistons. But they still have to work with their stroke, rod, and deck height. And they got to fill the blank in with the piston, so they're limited how much they can put. But this piston is very strong. This has cast valve reliefs put in it, and they're just straight out cast, just like you'd plunge cut or fly cut a valve relief. This one has radiused. It's been done on a CNC machine. This is actually a radiused out, so it comes out radiused out this way on both sides. The intake a lot more than the exhaust, and that allows, when the valve is at max lift, it allows the flow to come out and not hit this dead straight wall and edge. So really, for performance, this is more racier. The CP piston is. It's a stronger piston. Yes, it's heavier, but it's stronger. But they're not meant for the same thing. This is made for a lot more power than this one. Nothing wrong with this piston. Great pistons, especially for a street car. You keep the rotating assembly light. You don't have to overkill everything. You need to build for the power level, or the maximum power level that you expect to ever achieve, and build your parts for that. A lot of times people overkill stuff, and then you got people that don't build them strong enough. They use factory rods and factory pistons, they blow them up. But you don't always have to have a 2,000 horsepower piston if you're only going to make 500 horsepower. You're just having extra weight, extra cost, and you would make more power if the stuff's light, and your rods will last longer when you got a lighter piston. You're not stressing stuff. You're not stressing the block as much. There's a lot of advantages to have a light piston. It's all application dependable on this stuff. And then of course their brands have different features. This has got anodized ringlands. It's got a graphite coating that they put all over it, and it's for the pin bores that got the graphite coating, and it's got a skirt coating on it. And this one's just aluminum. It don't have any coatings on it. But the pin bores here have a oil groove all the way. This one does not have direct pin oiling. There's no holes whatsoever, which honestly I'm not a big fan of that. It's got these grooves here that allow oil to get behind it, and the splash oil, it's okay, but I'm not a big fan of it. I'd rather have pin oiling. And the reason they can't do that is because it's hollow here. They should have strut it like this one. That's why them struts are there, not only for strength, but for where they drill the holes. If you can see here, this hole here, that feeds the pin bore. There's a hole here, and then there's a banana groove cut in it. It's not all the way around, but it's just right there where the load, you got your load pushing down, so you need more oil for the protective film. The load, I don't know if you can see that. I might have got out of the field of view on the camera. But the oil rings hold oil in them, and as it's going up and down, it kind of has a little bit of pressure, and it pressurizes it, and it pushes oil in there and force feeds it. With this, it's just splash. There's no force feed. I don't like that about this piston. This is a better design on that. It has pin oilers. I'm a big fan of pin oilers. But once again, this is made for maybe a turbo application or nitrous or a race bike, because these are Harley pistons, and this is for a street bike. So there's different applications. Nothing wrong with either one. They both have their place. But the main thing I was wanting to tell you is you need to measure. I measured this one, and it was dead on, completely dead on. This one's not. This is the second set I've had like this. Like I said, I like Molly, but for some reason their calibration's off on this. They're too tight. They would be too tight. But it's not a problem, because I'm honing the cylinders, and I'll add the clearance that they need into it, and they'll match and be just fine. But if you was to order a cylinder off eBay and then order a set of pistons, that's a no-no. If you do that, measure it and make sure it's right. And if it ain't right, take it to a machine shop. Or if you don't have a way to measure it, take it to a machine shop and pay them to measure it and make sure it's right. Because it's a whole lot cheaper to pay them $50 or whatever to check it all out. And I doubt they'll even charge that much. But just saying, if it's $50 versus a few $100s for new pistons and a few $100s to have the cylinders redone. and all the time in trouble. So it's worth it. Just do it right. But anyways, that's my rant on pistons. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, just put them in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer them if I know the answer. And if I don't, I'll try to find the answer for you. But that's just a little bit of tech talk on pistons. Build them right, build them strong, and build them fast and a lot of power, guys. Have a good day and God bless. Subscribe to the channel, like and share these videos so we can keep getting them out. Appreciate it.